Greetings. How are you all, my friends? Are we having a great conference? I'm so glad to join you here in Hungary, in your beautiful country. Ever since I arrived, I've been treated just extraordinarily well by a generous and welcoming people. So thank you for having me. Thank you for the hosts of CPACHungary, and thank you to, of course, the American Conservative Union and CPAC in the United States of America that allowed me to come along as part of the delegation. So in the few minutes that I have, I want to talk about a subject that I think you're experiencing even more here in Hungary and across Europe as compared to the United States of America. And that is that these globalists are fundamentally attempting to change our way of life. And what do these globalists want? Well, of course, globalists want to destroy any local culture because a homogeneous society, one that doesn't look uniquely at the individuals or the individual cultures, supports their advancement for global society. That includes supporting the interests of large multinational corporations, supporting these multinational organizations and NGOs, and as well as the wealthy elites which feed into them. And that's in contravention, and instead of supporting families, communities, small farmers, small businesses, local communities, and traditional values that we all support. And why is local culture so important? Well, even in the United States, there are local cultures at play, including my home state of Iowa, where we have the wonderful Iowa State Fair, where it's one of the few places that you can go and get a corn dog with an Oreo that's French fried together with a pork chop on a stick. I mean, if that's not local culture, I don't know what is. But each and every community, each and every state, each and every country certainly has its unique local cultures that these globalists would prefer to eliminate so that they can serve their one-size-fits-all agenda, whether that is to support their bottom line and profits or whether that's to support their radical social agenda that we see advancing as quickly as they can push. You know, the globalists also want to homogenize culture to facilitate the more efficient flow of goods and services and people across borders. They want to eliminate, in some cases, those borders so that it can be much more efficient. They claim, in fact, I've heard even it start to creep into the way we speak, that somehow people migrate just like birds migrate. I don't believe that's the case, because if that's the case, then that eliminates individual sovereignty for nations and countries. Because remember, their agenda is the global integration of the economy so that they can serve their corporate interests more efficiently and therefore advance their values. And borders matter. We just heard this panel earlier talk about how important individual sovereignty for countries and how important border enforcement is. But in the United States, and I'm sure in Hungary and in the European Union, there are countries that want to defend that unique national sovereignty. And we know that those globalists, those multinationalists want to prevent us from defending our sovereignty and our nation's borders. And you know, in addition to serving their corporate interests, they want to serve their values. They put that in quote, because are they really values? Are the radical ideas of the environmental lobby values? Are the values of anti-family truly values? And is their gender fluid radical ideas really values? I would suggest that they're actually antithetical to the fundamental and core values that have made not only the United States of America, but many other countries, including Hungary, great. And when we abandon those values for these multinational and corporate interests, I think we fundamentally lose our traditions, but not only our traditions, but we lose the fabric that makes us a unique people with who we are. So, in addition to all of that, with these strong interests working against the things that we all believe in, I would suggest at the same time, the educational system is used against moms and dads and families in educating kids to this radical agenda. And we saw this in COVID, where moms and dads who were having to learn how to teach their children in remote settings were finally put into the classroom and read into that radical agenda of what their kids were being taught. But this agenda must be countered. This agenda is being countered by not only many of you in the room and nationally and internationally, but so many of us in the United States with our brethren. In fact, it is so much so that I would suggest being pro-family, pro-traditional values is the new counterculture. It is almost becoming radical idea to stand for things like faith and family and individual liberty. And it's kind of becoming cool to be like us in the room, to be the true counterculturalists that stand for our way of life, that stand for our traditions and our values, instead of standing for corporate global interests that so much and for so often is forced upon all of us. But we will not give up on our desire to protect these traditional values and these things that have worked, because this agenda is being pushed by the mercantilists that have so often desired this one world order. But we will not stand for that. And in fact, we will demonstrate in places like Hungary, in places like the United States of America, in states like my home state of the great state of Iowa, how individual liberty and self-determination, traditional values, and family are what is going to save all people worldwide. And this battle is just begun. It is far from over. In fact, let's all join in fighting this radical agenda. Let's all stand for families. Let's all stand for family farmers. Let's all stand for the millions of people that support our movement worldwide. Be a part of the new counterculture of traditional values and standing up for families. And so all I can say in conclusion is let's all pray that God blesses our efforts. Let's pray that he continues to bless Hungary. Let's pray that God saves the United States of America from this radical agenda. And let's pray that God blesses everyone that stands for our values and our traditional support of the family. So God bless you all. Thank you for having me.